What's up, geeks, nerds, and all that lie in between? I'm JustACommonFan back with a new video, and today we're going to be doing just a common review of the movie Tag. Now, Tag is based on a true story, and it follows 5 friends who have been playing the same game of tag for over 30 years. Four of the friends finally get together and decide that this is the year that they're going to tag their one friend who's ever been tagged, who is Jerry, played by Jeremey Renner. Now, as always, I'm going to tell you what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and if I think you should pay the full movie price to see it, or if you should just wait to catch it on Redbox or streaming. Now, at first look, this movie has been given an amazing gift of a cavalcade of comedic cast members for this movie. You got Ed Helms, Jon Hamm, Jake Johnson, Hannibal Buress, Rashida Jones, Isla Fisher, Jeremey Renner, Leslie Bibb. I mean, it's just amazing. You would think, well, with a physical comedy concept like Tag and these great comedic actors, this movie should be hilarious. I'm going to walk out of this movie quoting it, talking to my friends about it, everything. And unfortunately, you're not. You're not going to do any of those things. You're going to leave this movie thinking, man, I laughed, I chuckled, there was that one cool scene in the woods. What else is there? Like, there's nothing. And that's what is really, really underrated about this movie. What really, really sucks. I think the direction is fantastic. I think the cast does an amazing job with what they're getting. But I just feel like the chemistry it kind of bounces back and forth between organic and forced. I think that the script is just weak. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I know it's hard to write a script. I've tried to write scripts in the past. It's difficult. But I just feel like this movie, this cast was not given the script that just this concept and this level of comedic casting deserves. The movie really follows Ed Helms and then Jon Hamm's characters for the most part. Really picks up steam when Jon Hamm is being interviewed by the Wall Street Journal, and then she finds out about this whole tag game that their friends are having, and so she decides to scrap the story on his Fortune 800 company and just follow them as these grown men play tag. And apparently that's somewhat how it happened in real life, and this story was covered by the Wall Street Journal. If I can find the actual story, I'll try to link it down below if I can. But yeah, there's a lot of moments in this movie that you're like, oh, that's funny. Oh, they went there. Oh, that's hilarious. But none of it's going to stick with you. None of it's you're gonna make you want to go back and tell your friends at work, or try to, retell a joke to someone you know, or your friends or whatever. It's just not, and that's really unfortunate. Now, there are certain scenes that stand out. There are 2 in my mind right now. I won't spoil them for you, but there's 2 in my mind right now that stick out. Just look for Jeremey Renner in the mall, Jeremey Renner in the woods, and then, Jeremey Renner and a teddy bear. And I'll leave it at that. And if you notice, I said a lot about Jeremey Renner, and that's because he was my favorite cast member in this movie up until a certain point, and I'll get to that in a second. I think Jake Johnson did a great job. He plays the guy on New Girl. He's also the voice of Peter Parker in the new Into the Spider-Verse movie that's coming out, and he did good. He's your typical stoner character, lives with his parents, fine. Hannibal Buress played Hannibal Buress. If you've ever seen Hannibal Buress do anything, if you saw Hannibal Buress in Spider-Man Homecoming, then you've seen Hannibal Buress in this movie. I think that Hannibal Buress is funny, but he really is becoming a token, one-note actor, and I really kind of want to see more from him. You got your typical Ed Helms. He's a little bit more relaxed in this film, but he's still kind of playing the kind of straight-laced type of character he played in the Hangover movies. You got Jon Hamm, who's, does a great job. I think Jon Hamm is very comedic. I think he did a fantastic job with what he's given here. But yeah, other than that, I mean, if one thing this movie really did show me is that Marvel needs to do more with Jeremey Renner in the Marvel movies. You can't, whenever Hawkeye appears, in my theory, in Ant-Man and the Wasp, you cannot keep him on the shelf anymore. If you're going to do a Black Widow movie, keep Black Widow as the main character, because that needs to be a female-driven story, but make Hawkeye the main co-star of the film. Like, he needs more action scenes. His character, Jerry, in this movie, he owns a gym, so he's super in shape. He does a bunch of parkour stuff, and he is kind of paranoid as well. So he has like all these cameras and surveillance things. And like he's always been preparing for his friends to try to tag him. Since he hasn't been tagged in 30 years, he wants to make sure it never happens. And so Jeremy Renner just does a lot of great stuff in this movie. I mean, the scene in the woods, the scene with the teddy bear, and the scene in the mall, those stick out the most to me in this movie, except for one very negative issue. So and before I get to that, I'm talking about this real quick. So the female cast in this movie is grossly underserved. You got Leslie Bibb, Isla Fisher, and you got Rashida Jones. Leslie Bibb plays the fiance of Jeremy Renner. Nice little Marvel connection there, with Jeremy Renner being Hawkeye and Leslie Bibb being in the first Iron Man movie. You know, you can't have a studio make 10 years of movies where the stories all connect and not have, you know, characters from the movie show up together eventually. So it's kind of cool to see them together, had a little nice Marvel nod, but it really kind of upset me. Isla Fisher, extremely funny, hilarious, but in this movie, no, she has a couple of like haha moments. Her character is supposed to be like very competitive and very like grossly just super competitive and mean and angry whenever she gets competitive. And I feel like really like you have 4 females in this movie, really only 2 of them get any real screen time, and then one of them you're gonna stick with the stereotype of, you know, mean, aggressive woman. So I didn't really care for that. I thought that was kind of in poor taste and kind of could have been avoided or done a different type of way. Rashida Jones, who I think is very funny, is unfortunately, or at least unfortunately for us, reduced to the role of Vixen, the role of you know, the girl that the 2 friends fight over in high school and now. Maybe Rashida Jones wanted that to happen. You know, maybe she's at a point in her career where she's like, you know, I want to book sexier roles, which is fine. But, and of course, they like drive it home. Like the first time you see her character on screen, she's wearing like a deep V-neck dress, and I was like, come on, like we get it. Like Rashida Jones is attractive, we all know that. But you know, the deep V-neck and the way her character is really reduced as just fodder for 2 characters to fight over, it was pointless to me. And there's one more thing with her character that pissed me off, but I'll get to that in a second. Now, if you do not want spoilers, please stop the video now, and I'll go ahead and tell you, don't see this movie in theaters. Wait for streaming, wait for Redbox, Netflix, whatever. I do think it could be a fun time with some pizza and some alcohol and some friends, but other than that, do not go out of your way to see this movie. Now, from this point on, there are spoilers, so if you keep watching, that's on you. This movie takes 2 dark turns and then one just mind fuck, just a surprising thing that happens that I don't understand, that I want to go over now. One is that Jeremy Renner's fiance, played by Leslie Bibb, he's getting married in this movie, and they feel like the perfect time to tag him is at some time during the wedding festivities. She tells the guys that she's pregnant and that she's expecting a baby, and that they haven't told a lot of people just yet. Then the characters finally they catch Jerry at a AA meeting, and they think they can tag him there, and they kind of got him cornered. And his fiance shows up and fakes a miscarriage in order to get him out of the room so that he won't be tagged. Fakes a miscarriage, okay? This is pissed me off beyond belief for a couple of reasons. One, in order to fake a miscarriage, she also faked a pregnancy. So that's right, not only was she never pregnant, but then she also faked having a miscarriage. Now, maybe it's because of me and my wife, we had problems with fertility, and we experienced infertility whenever we were trying to have our child. Nolan, just a common toddler, he pops in once in a while in the videos. And we dealt with infertility, and it's terrible. I mean, even though we have Nolan now, we still, especially my wife, deals with those kind of scars that never really healed about infertility. So it's really just in such poor taste. And the moment I heard that, it kind of just sucked me out of the movie. It really did. And I kind of didn't enjoy myself at all after that. And I really want to put this out there that, you know, hopefully if there's somebody out there who has dealt with infertility, or, you know, or has lost a child and they deal and stuff like miscarriages and people joking about being pregnant and faking being pregnant and then faking a miscarriage bothers you, this is not the movie for you at all. Because not only does she fake it, but when they find out and they confront her about it, she laughs it off like it means nothing. And not only does she and Jerry seem like psychopaths in the movie anyway, it just really pissed me off that they would do that. I mean, there's a bunch of ways to kind of get that message across of what they were trying to do, that they would do anything for Jerry not to be tagged. But come on, faking a miscarriage, that's going too far away. Faking a pregnancy and then faking a miscarriage of that fake pregnancy is too much. And I really do feel like they're going to alienate a lot of people with this film, a lot of people with that choice. And you know, the movie doesn't come out until this Friday. If they could, I would cut that out and replace it with something else, because that was just ridiculous. The second dark turn is that we find out that Ed Helms' character has some type of liver disease or pancreatic cancer or something, so he's gonna die, and this is his last, probably his last time being able to play the game of tag. So that's not as dark, but you know, that happens, and so then Jerry allows him to tag, allows Ed Helms' character to tag him. Therefore, Jerry's finally been tagged, and now he can die happy. And then at the end of that, they start to play tag around the hospital, which is a funny scene. It really does drive home the message that they repeat to you over and over and over again, that you don't get old. You don't stop playing because you get old because you stop playing. They really repeat that a lot to drive the message home in this film. But it was really great that they, you know, had that scene. And then they changed the rules, because, you know, they made the rules when they were 9 years old. So at that point, no girls were allowed. And so now they're allowing girls to play. And they tag in Isla Fisher's character. And of course, she becomes uber competitive, and then they tag in the woman from the Wall Street Journal. Remember, mind you, I don't even remember this actress's name. I haven't talked about her a lot in this review because she did nothing. But they tag her in, they let her play, but then Rashida Jones vanishes, and I promise you, she was in that scene. So she's in the hospital waiting room to see what's going on with Ed Helms' character. Her and Jake Johnson, Jake Johnson's character and Jon Hamm's character are fighting over her, kind of, in the movie, and so she ends up pretty much picking Jake Johnson and saying that they can hang out and whatever. And so she's there when they start playing the game of tag, and yet they never tag her in to play the game of tag. It's like they shot that on a different day and Rashida couldn't make it. Or if this movie does connect to the Marvel Universe, maybe the snap heard around the world caused Rashida Jones not to be in this movie at that point. I just thought that was an odd choice, especially since they grew up with Rashida's character, but they didn't grow up with this woman from the Wall Street Journal, yet they tagged her in and not Rashida Jones' character. It was just a mind fuck. I still can't figure out why you would not do that. But yeah, so that's my review. I'm going to try to cut it here. It ended up being longer than I thought it was going to be, and way longer than this movie deserves. And again, it's not a bad movie, but that twist of that fake pregnancy and then faking the miscarriage of a fake pregnancy and then laughing about it in a comedy was too dark for me to handle. So I would say, you know, if you can get past that, there is some fun to be had here on streaming on Redbox with lots of alcohol, but definitely not worth seeing in theaters at all. Alright, so that's my review. This Friday, don't see Tag. Just go watch The Incredibles 2 instead. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button below. Hit the subscribe button so you can see more videos. Hit the bell down here to be notified of what new videos I'll be bringing up every week. And hey, what can I say? I'm just a common fan.